Good evening, Penny Billington here, switching on a moment early in time for tea with the Druid. I'll enjoy drinking my tea and see if anyone's going to sign in this evening. So cheers, everyone. Hello, nice to see you, Daniel and Pat. John King and Red Allen, cheers, my dears. You are the first tonight. Please do remember to say where you're from as well. It's so nice to see our global community all represented. Aha, someone from Nova Scotia. I went there once. Wonderful, wonderful place. I met what was then the only Druid in Nova Scotia, but that was quite a few years ago. I'm glad there are more. Kika from Slovakia, welcome. We'll give it 2 minutes for people to join in, and then we'll get on to the topic of this evening, which is rhythms, images, and growing shoots from your ankles. Something I'm going to encourage us all to do tonight. Lemon and ginger, you might tell me what sort of brew you're drinking tonight. There are those pretty things coming up on the screen. Lovely little bubbles, hearts, all sorts of nice non-verbal messages. That's smashing. Thank you, folks. I should have scrolled down. Of course, we've got Adi. My goodness, that's must be Adi from New Zealand, I would think. Someone from California. Hello, Julia Ann. The Netherlands. And Lawrence and Andre, yes. Martha from Colorado. Ulster says hi. Hi to Ulster. Oh, and John and Linda from Bridlington. Fabulous. Stephanie from Seattle. This is great. I'm going to leave you all to sign in now and get on to the main topic, because as usual, now I've started, I can think of plenty of things to say. Never short of an opinion about something. So what's tonight's about? Well, tonight's talk is prompted by the fact that it is the bank holiday weekend. And all through the weekend, beautiful weather, national holiday, obviously, everyone's off work, it's Easter. All through the weekend, I felt my hand reaching for my car keys. Reaching for my car keys. The moment that I felt that instinct, the instinct that said, we've all got a day off, let's go to the sea, let's go 10 miles down the road, let's go and find a field to have a picnic in, I remembered bank holiday, the day when every single person is doing this. We who are fortunate enough to work from home don't have to do that, because often bank holiday, instead of being a beautiful day out, is miles of traffic jams and overcrowded roads, because the UK is not very good at the traffic system. We have a lot of congestion. Someone from Portugal, how wonderful. And Stephen's just arrived. Jolly good. So I had this instinct that because it was bank holiday and nice weather, I really should be going somewhere. But I live in the most beautiful small city in the United Kingdom. It's the smallest city, so I can walk around it easily, but it has a cathedral and medieval buildings. It's within 5 minutes of the country. It made me realise that as Druids, we do something very important Consciously, we go out to engage with nature and all the energies of nature. This is a good thing. It's a good thing because normally we're pulled away from it by the everyday world and by our society. But there's a difference between being pulled by society in a way you don't understand, a way that's subconscious and being manipulated. So, for example, spending £300 on a jacket for your loved one at Christmas when they don't really need a new jacket because everyone's going consumer mad. There's a difference between that and consciously tuning into the energy of the times, which in this case, given Christmas as the example, would be the loving and the sharing and the giving of affection. So, although as Druids, we consciously go out to engage with nature and feel the energies of the turning seasons, of midnight, of dawn, of noon, of those evening crepuscular times when we feel the veils are thin, when we go out to feel the energy of the seashore or the energy of the deep forest. How often do we key into the main impulses of our society? This weekend, the main impulse in any Christian society, although most of the society is mainly secular, but there is this strong undercurrent of Christianity in the Western world, which means that all the focus is on Easter. And as Druids, that is not irrelevant to us. Not irrelevant. Because if we're willing to be elevated by the beauty of the seashore or the majesty of the trees, surely what we've got just round the corner in the nearest church this weekend is the energy of joy and love and wonder and gratitude. And it seems to me that when we don't have to buy into Christianity or any of its beliefs, or Islam or any of its beliefs, or Judaism, any of its beliefs, in order to be aware that these huge energies are being presented, are being pushed out into the world, all energies for good. Now, as Druids, what we do is pursue a solitary practice between ourselves, nature, and the divinity that we feel we have access to through the natural world. When the rest of society joins in on these joyous occasions, Easter, Whitsun, Christmas, or any of the other major religious festivals, it seems to me that what society is putting out for us is a great wave, a current of love and gratitude and wonder, which is almost like a thermal. You've seen the birds with huge wings just coasting on the thermals. They use hardly any energy. They've just got wind beneath their wings. And it seems if we're pursuing a path of druidry, of love and joy and gratitude, well, certainly I found it easier this weekend by making myself aware that a lot of people I will never meet and have no wish to join in their particular worship were also on a similar course to me. Because of that, instead of going 20 miles, 30 miles, 50 miles out for my bank holiday, I went up to the Bishop's Palace Gardens, which are open to the public, and I sat for 3 hours between a holm oak, an evergreen oak, and a yew tree. And I talked to people who went by, I read my book, I looked at the trees, I breathed in the air, and I was aware that I was imbibing a wisdom just by being in that green space that I could never get by rushing around and trying to get somewhere else. That's part one. So let's just see if people are still there. Oh, hello, Pat Wilson from South Lincolnshire. Oh, Donald, you've got hot water. Very cleansing, very good for you. Sorry you forgot your tea though. Rue and Maggie. Oh, Maggie from Ayrshire in Scotland. Jennifer, Nancy. My goodness me. This is wonderful. All over the globe, people are coming from. Now, as I say, in the UK, it's been a really hot weekend. Surprisingly hot, after a very cold and miserable, slow spring. And it made me aware that not only I will find this weather a relief, but a lot of my friends have all had chest complaints, colds, flu-y things, really quite nasty bugs. Of course, what we can do to aid our healing is use visualizations. I'm going to suggest one in a minute. And we can also use tree meditations to imagine ourselves as tree, to connect to our roots, to feel our trunks, to feel the canopy above us. The crown of the tree is the crown of our head. It's a very healing meditation. And Philip's made a wonderful one, which quite a lot of us use, of course. But when you feel very ill, I found, because I also had a chest complaint, you can somehow feel, doing a tree meditation, as if you are a long way from your source of nourishment. Your roots can feel a long way away. It can feel a long journey up your trunk. It can feel a long journey to try and connect to your canopy and try and inject new life through the whole of your being. So this year, having been on another walk, I had an idea as to how to modify this. And this is what I did. It was raining in the Bishop's Palace Gardens a few weeks ago, and I stood underneath a yew tree. And I noticed this great big yew, because European yews are huge, thick trunks, massive. But the trunks aren't just bark. I saw that right from the bottom, new growth was springing up. Tiny little leaves were springing straight out of the bark from a few inches below the trunk, below the root. I'm sorry, I'm getting mixed up. You know what I mean. All the way up, new growth was springing. And when I walked back across my local park and past the lime trees, which I think in Germany you call the linden tree, I saw by the boles, just above the roots, huge new areas of growth with springing saplings. And when I look at my own hazel tree, I chop it off regularly so that new growth springs from the bottom all the time. In this way, a hazel, instead of having a certain lifespan, if it's copied regularly, can actually become immortal. People are working in their garden, I see. It has been a beautiful weekend. So I thought, if a tree can do it, why can't we? I looked at the tarot cards, the Waite Coleman Smith cards, and I saw that the wands, if you can see this, actually have growth all the way up the wands, not just from the front, from the top. They are springing up like a willow, like a yew, like a hazel, with new growth all the time. I find that the older you get, if you're feeling under the weather, the more you can engage with linear time and feel that you're a long way from your roots and everything is a bit of an effort. I use this meditation to remind myself that time is not linear, but it is cyclic, that what goes around comes around, that new life and new energy and new growth can spring from our bases. The source of our nourishment is very near the source of our creativity, so we can always stay connected. And if you would like to, we're going to do a 5-minute visualization about this. Yep, people are still joining in. If you'd like to, please close your eyes or lower your eyes. Give yourself your own personal bit of space. We're going to go to a grove. We're going to go to a grove of trees, but instead of looking at the trees against the sky, we're going to concentrate at the growth at the bottom of the trunks. So I'd like to begin by taking 3 breaths together, one with the sky above us. New, fresh energy entering our lungs, and we breathe out the day. Breathe out the cares and the worries and the tiredness, so that every breath can give us new life and new energy. And then we allow ourselves to sink down and become aware of the earth beneath us, and take one breath with the deep, green and fruitful earth that nourishes us. The earth that we walk in our daily life and in our visualizations. And we take one breath with the sea and the waters all around us. No matter how large a landmass we're on, no matter how desert our conditions, on the edge of our territory, there is water. The sea, the mother of all life that surrounds us all. And with the energies of earth, sea and sky, we allow the apparent world to subside. And we find ourselves walking into a sunlit grove in the springtime. It is morning. There is dew on the branches. And we notice that in this grove, there is a lot of low growth. The boughs start from very low. You can choose your own trees: birch, linden, oak, sweet chestnut, rowan. As you walk on the short green grass, you have to duck under a low branch. It catches momentarily in your hair, and you feel the dampness as a few drops of dew roll into your hair, almost like a baptism, like a welcome from the trees. And you see one tree particularly, which draws you, which attracts you. Because a low branch has twigs on the end of which the leaves are just beginning to unfurl. You have rarely seen such a beautiful, tender sight as these green leaves, still crumpled like any new living thing, still furred from the casing which they've just pushed their way out of, just beginning to uncrumple and spread to the sun. Feel a leaf gently. It is tender and smooth as silk, smooth as a baby's skin. And as you stand by the trunk of your tree, you feel your feet becoming attached to the earth as if you are growing roots and can absorb the nourishment from the earth. And as you breathe it in. And fancifully, as you breathe it in, you imagine your ankles and your legs and your trunk being the trunk of a tree. And the energy of the earth allowing new shoots to spring from your ankles, from your knees, almost as if you were one of those medieval wild men or women that we see in the woodcuts. And you know that the source of creativity in you is not in your head, but all through your body, as you feel the energy of the earth rising higher and higher and bringing its green life, its energizing and rejuvenating energy to your body. And as it rises higher, you feel the creative center of your abdomen blossom and flourish. And as it rises high, you feel the heart center of your body open like a flower and grow green leaves. And the vine of your creative life stretching further up and opening at your throat center into a flower of mystery and wonder. And you stay with those feelings, the energy of the body, the growth and the creativity, the deep intuitive connection. And then you breathe in once more and you allow that energy to rise up into your head and to inform a great canopy of green growing leaves from the boughs of your tree. And you know that the energy of the body is the energy of the deep intuitive wisdom which we garner whenever we turn off our rational minds. And that whenever its messages reach the brain, that is when we flourish as true creative druids. Take a last couple of breaths as a tree that flourishes from the very roots to the very tip. And open your eyes in your grove and you are once again a druid, saying goodbye and thank you to the tree that has been next to you in your experience. And you allow that grove, that tree, to vanish from your mind with your thanks, like mist in a morning meadow, and you find yourself sitting in front of your computer, completely back here, ready to say hello to the waking world of Druidry again. So here we all are. Pat makes a very, very good point. I don't feel a Christian tide from folks. It's more a chocolate and a long weekend tide. Well, it might be, Pat. That's quite right, because we're mainly secular. But both chocolate and long weekends are joyous and therefore we can claim both for Druidry. So let us give chocolate eggs in the spirit in which they're intended. Giving food, giving treats is giving love and giving affection to our loved ones. Oh yes, the social expectation of doing certain things. We have to weigh this up all the time, don't we? All the contracts we make with the everyday world and all the contracts we make with our inner self to be true to ourselves and lead the life that makes us feel alive and not just like we're marking time. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you. I'm glad you agree. And hello, Renata from the Czech Republic. I've had a good over 20 minutes. I find it very difficult to stop. So I'm going to stop now, but I'm going to finish my tea in a few minutes and read all your comments and respond to them over the next few hours. So thank you very much for joining me for this. And next time we step out of our door, let's just think what the energy of humanity is like as well. At the very, very least, it might help us put a bit of love back there to help the whole thing along. Thanks a lot, and I hope to be with you again soon. Goodbye now.